Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Ohno radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God, we have a new champion!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. My name is Owen. I am your Sharp Break Kid. Along with me back from a week or two hiatus, it's none other than our good friend Matthew, the modern day Maharaja. Back in the building.
Don't call it a comeback, baby. I'm coming for the belt.
But, speaking of which, there is indeed the Ohno Wrestling Predictions Champion here with us as well. Duncan, the one and only King of... Oh, no, I gotta do it right. Hang on. From North Carolina, the King of Bone Style. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
It's going great. Glad to be here.
And
Had our week off. We had to have that dark week while we prepared for the Clash at the Castle.
hey, man, we had a lot to prepare for this week. We've got multiple predictions, and we're even ditching a show to do that. You know, like
That's right.
We just don't have the time for the 2.0. Let's be real. We just don't.
We don't honestly. I say go into the Discord. If you're listening to this, you find our Discord, you go in there into the predictions, and then fight amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
We will declare an internet champion.
We will. We absolutely will. We'll come up with some rules for that as time
An
goes on.
interim internet champion.
Yes, interim internet champion. As
Yeah.
we know, the true internet champion broke his vagine.
Oh yeah. That is true.
Re-injured the cervix.
It's good though. I like what they're doing with all that, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, are we talking, which internet champion are you talking about? Because I was kind of thinking of Cardona when you
No, he's the true, like, he's the internet champion, but
oh, okay. So what did I miss?
I was referring to Punk.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, I think of him as the internet. I think of Cardona as the internet champion.
Cardona is the internet champion, but the marks do love them some Punk.
They do.
On the internet.
They
They
do.
do.
We will certainly get to that in a minute. But well, I mean, since we were just on the topic of it, I did see some stuff from the NWA show, which was what? Was it last night?
Straight out of Compton. It was.
I think it was last night or Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday. It was a 2-day.
They did a 2-day
event.
thing. But I believe Cardona came out, and they're building towards a feud, or at least there's something going on, of course, with him and Bubba Ray or Bully Ray. And,
Bully Ray, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I love.
he,
Okay,
like-
so this is great because it ties into other things, because we've had, of course, all sorts of like body shaming stuff going on Twitter. We've had, you know, awful things being said to wrestlers on Twitter, and wrestling Twitter has become, in some cases, a storytelling device.
Real quick though. Everything on Twitter is pretty fucking negative and bad.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like
That's a
it's just a
fact.
very negative place. Yeah, a lot
This
of body shaming and insults and
this is all-
racism, misogyny.
Terrible bullshit.
yeah.
I'm
to the place.
not saying that any of that is not, correct, but I do think it's funny that they're using like Cardona now is basically being extreme shamed by Bully Ray is what he says. He's being extreme shamed for
all of
and be clear, not
GCW.
extremely shamed,
No,
but
no, no.
extreme shamed.
Yeah, because he's like, he's seeing I'm not like the hardcore guy that I am, because he is the deathmatch king. He's the king. He is the new king of hardcore.
Right.
Formerly Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona. And so
It was like, he'll never be the king of the death match. That's Mick Foley.
Bully Ray, he's been running that mouth. I feel like we might get a Bully Ray Matt Cardona match, and somehow I'm here for it.
Oh, I think that'd be a great match because it's this weird heel versus heel dynamic with Bully being like the bully heel.
Yeah.
And Cardona being the chicken shit heel.
Correct.
And I like it.
I think it can work. I think it can work. And you, like, if I was in, all right, the way they're going to book this.
If you were Billy Corgan and the world was a vampire.
Despite all my rage, I'd put them both in a cage.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. All right.
Despite all my rage, I want Ryder
dream.
and Bubba in a cage. Yeah. I think Bubba is gonna end up like looking like the face, like to start the thing, but in the end,
Cardona.
Or we get it the other. I think Cardona needs to be the one that ends up bullying Bully Ray. That's what you do.
He's gonna fat shame Bully Ray.
Yeah, he's gonna fat shame him out of his extremeness, and he will be like, "Admit to me, I'm more extreme than you. You didn't want to do these thumbtacks. I did. I got thumbtacks in my back. You didn't even want to go through a table. Tables, like you're too old to go through tables."
Sammy and Eddie just did it. Now Eddie's suspended.
Oh yeah.
Well, Eddie was suspended. He already served his suspension.
Yeah,
but
that's all
still,
done.
It was over the fat shaming.
I think
it was over the fat shaming.
I think it would be funny if they revisited that. And
Owen's like, I like fat shaming.
Fat shaming can have its merits, but that also doesn't mean.
I'm a weekly listener and patron of the Ohno radio show, and have been for a long time. Still have not gotten my shout out on the show, but that's besides the point. But I will say that I will say that you've said quite a few things about fat people on the show. You definitely are a fat shamer.
Owen is very fat phobic.
I never liked them.
And yet we're friends.
I just
and yet somehow we're friends, and I'm a big fat fuck.
You're not fat though.
I am large right now.
All right, I'm gonna actually defend myself for 2 seconds on this one. When it comes, here's the thing. There's good fat shaming and bad fat shaming. Bad fat shaming is when you yell at Eddie Kingston about being maybe like out of shape or not big. That's part of what makes Eddie Kingston Eddie Kingston. If Eddie Kingston was toned and skinny and perfectly fit, he would have none of the desirable qualities that make him Eddie Kingston, the things that people connect to the everyman that is Eddie Kingston. That is part of what makes him him. He cannot be that guy, that gimmick, without that physique. It's part of what it is. Sure. Now, there are people that have to basically ride everywhere in a thing, and a trolley, and a scooter mobiles, and those people I get mad at because they're always got a big gulp and they always got a hamburger, and I know some of them have some sort of disease, but then there are also people that are just fat and live the way you want to live, but at the same time,
but don't inconvenience.
Don't get in my way.
Owen. I don't think that you did yourself any favors with that.
Well,
like you're like, in my defense, and there was no defense of
that
you.
Is part of what I do.
I side with the portion of them getting in your way and them pretending like they deserve to like be able to push you out of the way. Like in their little scooter.
They run them over
beep the horn when they beep. Oh, they beep the horn, and
so I literally was surprised. at the Magic Kingdom earlier, and the amount of people I saw on scooters that were skinny fucks.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, in any case,
But I support that. I support that because now you're just taking advantage of the system, you know, like because you're just.
But if all the skinny people get the scooters, then you're making the fat people walk. So it's like you're making them burn some calories.
Evens
well,
out.
it doesn't because then they're just in your way while you're on the scooter.
Yeah, don't get the scooter unless you need the scooter. I'll go ahead. I'll say that.
There we go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now,
people that didn't
back to wrestling.
I was just gonna say, as far as this whole body shaming thing goes, is just like I'm large and out of shape and have gone up multiple pant sizes. But this is the thing. Like, I've gone from a 38 to a 42.
Well, your whole journey as an adult, your whole journey as an adult has been kind of like ups and downs with your weight.
It's like all of the food that I enjoy is like 5,000 calories a serving.
Right.
So like, but you couldn't hurt my feelings by calling me fat. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, "Oh, you're fat." I'd be like, "I know, isn't it cool?"
Sticks and stones, man.
Yeah. Like,
I do think that there's people that you can make those jokes with, and I think that there's intent to hurt, and that's where it comes from. I don't intend to hurt anybody I make a fat joke about, right? Like it's no,
but even if somebody was like trying to be malicious about me, I'd be like, yeah, I got big man titties. I don't care. Like,
yeah, and on the opposite side, people make fun of really skinny people.
I get it all the time.
True.
I get it all the time. And there's nothing I can do about that, right?
Nope.
Like, so
Owen and I are the opposite ends of the spectrum. Matthew's in the middle.
I'm just a peak pinnacle of health.
Well,
and
yeah.
I, pretty much am Mr. Perfect, and I'm kind of a big deal.
I saw you
No
do
big
the
deal.
I saw you do the gum thing. I saw you do the gum thing.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of peak pinnacle health, let's switch gears and let's talk about CM Punk and Jon Moxley. In a match that was described on this Dynamite, came out of the blue, this past week's Dynamite, came out of the blue, right, with the oh shit, they're gonna do this before the pay-per-view, and
and they
2
did
weeks before the
at
pay-per-view?
the 9 o'clock hour.
And
They didn't even main event it.
Didn't main
Good
event
choice.
the show. I mean, there were reasons for that, and I
Obviously.
actually appreciate sort of why they did it, what they did. I don't know if it makes a ton of business sense, but storyline wise and what they were trying to convey, I can get behind some of the logic. I can see it both ways.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is, though, they did something that none of us could have predicted. None of us would have said this particular outcome was going to happen, right? Like that Jon Moxley was going to squash CM Punk. None of us could have predicted that. We could have predicted a lot of other things. We predicted something with MJF or Hangman or like a multitude of other scenarios. I think most of us were weighing more heavy on CM Punk was probably going to win that match. I think that was what most of us thought going into this, I would say. And
that's definitely the thought that I had going into it.
And there was something just so bizarre about how they did it with, of course, the time slot in the show. And I wanted to get you guys' honest opinion. I was watching live. Were you watching? You were watching live, Matthew. I know. Weren't you watching that?
So I was watching live, but what happened was I actually got back to the hotel in Scranton, and I turned on Dynamite, and I was late to starting. Like, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get the whole thing, and I didn't, and I missed it, and I kept thinking it was coming at the end, and I was like, when is this going?
When's this match?
I guess I was
right.
I guess I was like not paying, because I'm sure they talked about it. But I literally at the end after that trios match, and knowing it was the main event going in, I was like, the fuck. And so then I went back immediately after the trios match and then watched from the beginning so that I could like catch myself up. So I was like 30 minutes late to the party.
Interesting way to digest it, obviously, because I was watching it live and even if you didn't catch it like exactly live, what I think you eventually realize if you're watching that show, where like, again, like the where it was put and why was it put there and all this sort of stuff. I tended to like, no matter with all of us, if you're just watching that match and you see it happen and it's so quick, it's 3.5 goddamn minutes that's all on YouTube, and you watch that match and you're just like, okay, even if you heard from me, Duncan, John Moxley just squashed CM Punk, which is, I think, what I
did, which is exactly
right?
what,
and that's just kind of why I want to bring it up. I'm sure you went back and watched the clip on YouTube, right?
The clip, yeah.
But
Dude,
that's what's so funny about it. It was just a clip on YouTube, and that's jarring for everyone, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, it's like a reel.
They've posted longer clips of like promos than that.
100%. The cowboy shit promo is way longer than that.
Right.
But obviously by design. Obviously. I mean,
right.
One, if you're going to end up redoing it and you want Punk to get it back as the actual champion, do it in Chicago. Which, I mean, let's just be honest, like, you don't have to do every fucking pay-per-view in Chicago. I guess All Out will always be, but they did the New Japan, AEW, like, which I get. I don't know. It just seems
I think they're trying to establish Chicago more as like a base
I think
for
they
them,
already
like New York.
I think they already have, but like, you don't have to. Oh, by the way, Scranton. I was driving last night. There's a little town outside of here called, I don't know how to say it. It's
Wilkes-Barre.
Barry. It's Barry.
Yep.
I ask people. I say Bear. I was saying bar, and then I was like, shit. People do know I'm not a local.
Right.
I pretend to be a local.
I think it's Wilkes-Barre. Yeah.
And I got the black lung. But yeah, so I was there, and so I drove by this little tiny thing, and it was like Raw November 7th. I was like, oh, Raw November 7th. Really? I was like, yeah. It's like,
I'll probably be here.
You might have to schedule a work trip out here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
yeah. So.
Make it worth your while, but you're right with the Chicago thing. Like, it made sense, obviously, as like sort of a second spiritual home of AEW, kind of competes with New York to WWE, right? Right. And you know, All In being, you know, starting there, having All Out kind of like, you know, take that mantle after the fact. Every All Out has been there. And then which
I don't necessarily associate WWE with New York anymore. Do you?
Not anymore. I think you used to.
So like, I know that was their big thing back in the day, but nowadays that like
it's the MSG thing. It's like, yeah, I think they want us to think that, and I think Vince kind of thought that, but times move on, and WWE doesn't have, like, if anything, I think of Orlando more now. You know, I think of the Performance Center.
Orlando or Tampa, but Florida.
But with the All Out thing, it made sense for them to try and get their mileage out of CM Punk for the, you know, like last year's, and now CM Punk with a big major match again this year. The question is, what do they do with this? Because they've got, like, I've heard a lot of people saying, well, CM Punk has to win. He's going to have to become like the biggest babyface in Chicago, which is going to be hard to do with John Moxley. And I'm not 100% convinced of how they play this game or what long game Moxley, Tony Khan, and CM Punk are playing right now. But they're playing chess when we're playing checkers, I think. I want to believe that. I think
it's 5D chess. To be precise.
So I guess that answers a little bit of one of the questions I was going to ask, is for the both of you, was this squash match a bad thing for AEW? Do you think that they have a bigger plan, and were you upset or happy about it? Where did you rank your feeling on what happened with that match and the ramifications, I guess, moving forward?
That's a lot of questions.
Right. But, you know.
To start with, how did I feel? Fucking phenomenal. I felt fantastic. You know what? Because there's nothing more that I love than watching Punk get fucking squashed like that piece of shit termite that he is. I'm in case we can't tell, not on Team Punk because he's a
You were
bitch.
nice. You were nice when he first debuted for about like
I was
3 weeks. I want to say
I was really, I was
weeks.
giving him a chance.
You
I was
were?
giving him the benefit of the
Yeah.
doubt, and then I'm just like, no, you're still a snake in the grass, piece of
Yeah.
shit. And
You're also not that great of a wrestler.
he is definitely like okay.
There, I fucking said it.
Expected him to lose
You're a mediocre
step
wrestler.
or two.
You're not like horrible, but you're not like a fucking amazing.
He's not capable of putting on the matches that he was capable of fucking, what was it, 7 years ago, whatever. Yeah. Like, it's just not a thing. So it made me super happy. I watched that clip. By the clip, I mean the match. I don't know how many times. And I'm just like, wait a minute. He kicked him in the head with this leg, but then he sold this leg being all fucked up. And then I'm just like, wait, you're really trying to tell me that he re-injured it by doing a spinning heel kick? Like,
well, and then did you like see the backstage thing where like they're asking, they're like, did it pop? Did it hurt? Did it snap? And he's like, no. And he's like, it just didn't feel like anything. It went out. And like, you know, and because he's talking to the doctors, and I'm like,
right.
Yeah, but you sold it like it fucking hurt. Like,
right.
You did sell it like it hurt, but you're actually on camera saying it didn't hurt.
Now.
Yeah. Okay. Please, Duncan, please go on.
No, what I was going to say is I think the plan to make CM Punk the biggest babyface in AEW, if you want to go about it that way, is you can make him the biggest babyface or the biggest heel in AEW by doing the same goddamn thing. He loses in Chicago.
I think that's what is going to happen.
I agree.
think it's too obvious at this stage with what they're doing for this big triumphant return, and it's too soon. After like you came back,
you've already
told the story that you came back from injury too soon, and I don't really mind that. Was it that leg or that leg type stuff? Because I can see you maybe compensating as an athlete. Doing something, twisting it wrong, whatever, right?
It took me several watches to figure out what exactly they were trying to tell, you know, what story they were going for.
I think that this is absolutely perfect for CM Punk to win, though, and be turn heel in front of Chicago.
He can't turn heel in Chicago.
You could. If you were to do that, though, it could play into Duncan what you're saying with the leg thing, where he like ends up saying, well, you thought it was this one, and he ends up doing something using the. I'm just saying, you could put that in
like maybe that's the chess
and like that's
versus
like
our checkers.
You know, yeah.
And this whole plan is apparently, like, from what I've read, and this could all be, of course, bullshit, the dirts. But they were essentially saying, a lot of people have reported that a lot of this is Moxley's idea. That there's something with him having this first match on TV and then telling the story into the pay-per-view was Moxley's idea. And if that's the case,
there will be blood.
It adds a layer to it. And I sort of think, okay, they're saying without saying that we know what we did. We kind of robbed you of this sort of dream match. We robbed you of this on TV. But what they're going to build next week is they're going to find a way to make sure to convince a paying audience that it's not going to be like the first time, and that this is going to be worth seeing the rematch for, because Punk
you're going to let CM Punk run his mouth.
Punk has to do this, right? Punk's the one that's got to sell it now. Mox has already sold what he can do, so Punk has to sell this match. Is this a setup for an MJF return? Is this something involving him? Because that is what I keep going back to the well with, is that it has to be something involving MJF.
I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on MJF yet.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Yeah.
I think it's predictable.
So you asked, although we have said that, so what you just said, Duncan, Owen, we said this when I called you yesterday to talk about doing the show, and we did say that like the whole MJF thing, like, or AEW has been rather too predictable, especially on TV shows. Their matches, we kind of know what's happening, right?
Right.
Do we think that they can actually swerve us and us be surprised? Because even for the most part, I think there was like one or two where we were fairly underwhelmed when there was like someone coming in, like having, their first match or like, just showing up. But beyond that, everyone was calling everything every time that it was happening, right?
Right.
So like, do you think there's a chance they can surprise us?
And it's something different.
Or,
yeah.
Exactly. Or the other thing I was going to say was a hot take. When that match was 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, in all honesty, with all that's happening in the rest of wrestling, I could fucking care less about this storyline.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm going to be honest. I really actually could. As a wrestling fan, there's so many other storylines that I'm
are better than
in
this.
and care about.
Yeah.
So like this one, and I'm not saying because like I love Mox and like I'm just saying like this is like not a world championship fucking like match and storyline that I am
100%.
very invested in.
I would
To me-
I do 100% agree with you, and I'll just interject very quickly about like the sort of surprise aspect that we're talking about. Can they kind of swerve us? Can they shock us? You've got to remember that last year's All Out was the ultimate in that, right? Like they did pull out like the biggest, like I mean that was an incredible pay-per-view start to finish, and it had Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole right debuting,
Right.
and Punk's first match, I believe, right? Like so, or not his first match, but his first pay-per-view match. So you have all of those things kind of wrapped into one. This would also make sense to me. Again, I'm going to go back to the MJF thing. They might go to this well because whether or not it has that same sort of like, oh my God, this is a big deal. I think they think of it like this, and it's the Punk heel turn aligning with MJF throwing him the diamond ring for him to use on Moxley in desperation to win the belt back. And then you have like something like that where it's so out of character for Punk that they're thinking that might be like this big twist.
That's how you turn him heel.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a big heel turn, but it's with MJF. It's something along those lines. That's what my initial thought is. Is it kind of predictable? Yeah, it is. I hope AEW and Tony Khan and Mox and Punk and even MJF all have something better planned.
The one thing that you are not taking into account, and I will tell you this as a gospel fact, CM Punk cannot be a heel in Chicago.
Right.
It does not matter what he fucking does.
So even if he committed
Tony
that
Khan
same act,
in the face,
even if he committed that same act, he's not going to get booed in that arena. But
it won't matter.
But he's going to get booed next week. He's going to get.
No, he won't. No, he
but
won't.
the following week
Chicago,
he would.
No, he won't. That's the thing. Whatever happens in Chicago sets the tone for what happens.
Oh,
the
so
rest
you're
of
saying
the way.
really? So you think that if he was cheered in Chicago, he like the next town that they go to, that he couldn't be booed? Like
I don't think it would happen.
Really? See,
I see
the opposite. I think he gets the cheer on the night, but I think he still turns heel in every other city, and then it's one of those like the only city Punk is in is a face in is Chicago, and it's the MJF Long Island thing.
Yeah, but they still hate him in Long Island.
No, he gets crazy cheers in Long Island. He's over as fuck, dude. Over as fuck there.
But he still gets like because he comes out playing against the hometown.
Just over as fuck. Like he gets the cheers, granted, and I will give you that most of the time because we love to boo like a fucking heel, right? Like so, but he does get that. But I will say when he is there, he does get the crowd.
Right.
Like the crowd does fucking pop.
But I don't think that there is nothing you can do in Chicago to turn CM Punk heel, and a heel turn doesn't work without that crowd reaction.
In your head, because we don't have the match announced, we don't even know if it's the match happening. But if it was just rematch Punk Mox, you would probably predict, I'm guessing, that Punk would win?
No.
You'd
Punk
think he would lose
in Chicago.
but still be a face at the end of the night.
I mean, still be as much of a face as he will always be in Chicago. The crowd will boo Moxley immensely. Like they will.
He's hard to boo though, you know, like
not in Chicago.
maybe not.
Not in Chicago.
So let me ask you guys.
You don't think they want that moment with Punk at the end with the belt, like in Chicago? Like
I think they like that's the predictable move.
right.
That's too predictable, right? Like that's how you, and that's pandering. Pandering to the Chicago audience. Punk has lost the step. Punk needs to prove that he is actually worthy of holding that title again. He's got to earn that shit now.
Sorry,
And you think if he doesn't fake that, sorry, this is on a completely different train of thought, but if he wasn't faking that injury, and we're not reading too far into which leg, like Duncan pointed out,
sure,
like that sort of thing, we really think he can come back and just win it, just out of heart,
right?
Or
yeah,
like,
that would make Moxley look like total shit.
That's
really,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like a tough motherfucker like Moxley, you make him look like shit like that.
Mox is the face of AEW.
And if there's
Punk
any truth to the rumor of what you were saying, Owen, which was that Mox is somewhat writing some of this, I don't think Mox cares either way as long as the story is fucking good and he gets to wrestle.
Yeah.
And like the match is good, right? Like so this comes back to what I wanted to ask you guys. So just quick shoot. With MJF somehow being a part of the match, not like maybe a full time, but like coming in or something like that. Who do you think would win? And then second, MJF not being a part of the match, no one else being a part of the match, just Mox and Punk. Who do you think will win? I'm gonna go Owen first with MJF. Who's gonna win?
So if it's a 3-way between all three of them?
No. If MJF
no. He's just involved in the match somehow.
Gets involved.
Shows up. He's not like on the card. It's not a 3-way match. It's Punk versus Mox, but MJF somehow shows up and has some influence in the match.
There's no way in my mind that MJF helps Mox. So no, Mox
Or
would
put Punk over really good and have fucking Mox do something like that with MJF, and then
no, that would
just saying.
Yeah, it goes against Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah. If I could see something along the lines of MJF interfering, with no real like.
Just who would win? Who's taking the belt?
If MJF is involved, CM Punk takes the belt. If MJF is not involved, Mox takes the belt.
I mean, it's. I think Mox takes it the other way.
Yeah, and that's probably the more logical. You, Matthew?
Because I think that
Mox takes it either way, and because MJF and Punk have something going on, you can do different members of Blackpool Combat Club, and you can get some different storylines out of that.
I mean,
yeah, I still don't see Punk and MJF aligning though.
I don't see them aligning, but I see MJF there being like I see there being an unspoken like tip of the hat. Like this happened.
There might be, yeah.
One day down the line, I'll put you in for the title when I get it.
They're never going to be friends.
They're first in line or something. We're not going to be friends, but I see what happened, and I wouldn't have gotten this fully on my own without you.
I think we're missing something, like, because there's got to be more of a payoff to the whole MJF walking out storyline than just him coming back and like being like, hey there, old timer, I respect you. Like, that's not MJF.
I feel like there's probably things that have changed along the way, right? Like there's been like different, because I think the original plan was there was going to, I think, be a long-term switch where Punk was going to turn heel and they were going to turn MJF face. I think that still is going to happen. It's going to take a lot longer than that, though. It's going to take longer now. And I do think that eventually that is the direction that they will go. Punk has always been is battling. He had that promo with MJF where he said, I'm trying really hard to be a good guy. And this whole thing about him trying to be a good guy, but having these two sides to him, that's the story of Punk. So we're going to start seeing the nastier side of Punk more and more. and then I think that we can get to a point where MJF is maybe not a face per se, but is wrestling as a face against a heel CM Punk.
I've got it.
Let's hear
I
it.
don't hate what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we're all just spitballing.
So, in my mind, as you were saying that, this hit me. What if we get the Moxley entrance, we get the Punk entrance, the bell's about to go, right? They're like standing in their corners and everything. Justin Roberts is about to hold up the belt, or the referee, and they're about to do that. As that's about to happen, MJF's music hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
He fucking comes back, demands, because no one has heard anything, right? I be a part of this fucking match, right? And be like, I deserve. That's the only way I'm getting back. So Tony Khan calls an audible, makes it a 3-way match, right? Either that, or because of what happened at All Out last year, and because they had like all these new people showing up, what if he does return, but it's after, and it's not like a fucking like Money in the Bank thing, but they start talking so much shit to whomever, Mox or Punk, wins the title. Let's say Punk, and Punk wins the title. Let's just say for this, and then he shows up after that as Punk celebrating. He fucking shows up, his music hits, he comes down, he starts talking shit, and then he's like, I would wrestle you right here for that fucking thing. That's the only way I would ever do this. I'm Punk on his pompous, blah, 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 to be a babyface. I will fucking do this right here in Chicago. This is my city, blah, blah. MJF wins it. MJF's your new AEW World Champion.
I wouldn't even mind that. I think those boos and to reestablish him as like the top heel in the business, minus Roman Reigns, would be genius, actually. Like, because MJF,
there's nowhere else that you can make him a bigger heel than by fucking. And see, that's the thing. Is like
when he shows back up, he has to be in the main title picture.
Correct.
Or else you fucking like ruined all of this.
And he's going to be cheered when he comes back. So the only way you can get him booed is to do it. To fuck over Punk,
he's gonna no matter how much you want to cheer him, he wants you to fucking boo him. And he's good at that job.
He is.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad. That's actually not a bad thought process. Right. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
No, I could. It's really tough to say. I still think it's too early for MJF. I don't know what the hell they do with MJF. I don't want to see him interact with Punk anymore, because that ship has sort of sailed.
The only way they bring him back, I think, is into that main event.
I think,
right.
Like into the main event picture. There's no other way.
I think unfortunately, I don't want to see him interact with Punk anymore, really. But I think it's the only way that you can bring him back, and that's
you have to do it at least once.
Yeah, one more time. Let's switch gears a little bit, and let me ask you this: how did you feel?
Or that's how Mox retains.
How did you feel about, of course, Kenny Omega's grand return in the Trios tournament to help out the Young Bucks? And is he even in consideration for something of being, in the world championship scene? Or is that do you think that's something way down the line again? Or
I think it's down the line again because he's got Will Ospreay and there's a lot of things you can do without Kenny needing the title in the picture.
And that's going to be a banger of a series. So we were kind of talking. And
this is an interesting one because I don't know that we're going to get. I think we're just going to get like the teaser tasters of with Elite, United Empire, Ospreay.
I mean, that's
they're going to fucking slow. They're going to slow burn this for sure.
This is not.
And they're going to
happening.
sell a lot of fucking tickets when it happens. But do they do a trilogy? And do they do it with New Japan somehow, where you have one match in AEW, one match in New Japan, especially with what Kenny was saying when he did that promo after it went off the air, where he was saying, like, I did it at fucking, like, the biggest thing at Wrestle Kingdom in front of, like, all of these people. You've done it in front of, like, 3,000 people, blah, blah, blah. He's like, the match with me and Okada, that is the match they fucking talk about. I had that match and I fucking beat Okada.
Well,
right. And like, so he was saying that with such passion, which makes me think that you would have eventually, you would do these slow burns, a match with him and Kenny and Ospreay, maybe in the States. Then you do one at New Japan, maybe a Wrestle Kingdom, right? Well, the fucking return of Kenny Omega with Ospreay, something like that.
I feel like New Japan is kind of owed that as well. I feel like wasn't there reports to do it? I think New Japan was a little bit pissed that Forbidden Door didn't have Kenny on the card as well. Like that was one of the kind of big promises. Now, granted, they understood Kenny's injured, only so much you could do. But the next time that AEW and New Japan work together on a joint venture, you gotta believe they're gonna want Kenny involved.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and then do you do the final culmination at AEW times New Japan 2?
Yeah, you probably do.
In Chicago.
I mean,
but I had a connection in North Carolina. But yeah, it's like something like that. I mean, I think that we get a really good long story, and that keeps Kenny busy. As opposed, Kenny doesn't need to be part of the title picture.
Let me interject. Let me interject there for a second too, because AEW has often been great at its spiderweb storytelling, right? Like that people have several story arcs at once, especially like the big players. Let's think about it with Kenny. Kenny has the stuff going on right now with the Trios tournament. He's got the stuff that he wants to win that. He's also got the stuff with Will Ospreay on the side of just the Trios thing. He's also got the stuff with Hangman. Like, right. Let's not forget, that exists. And realistically, he's probably got stuff that you could easily entertain with Moxley still. Like they have unfinished business. So Kenny's got like multiple avenues. He's also sort of telling the story. I think that they are deliberately telling the story of Kenny not being at 100%, and he has to get to 100%. I think they are 100% telling that story, and I think that is probably what's going to be the downfall for the Elite in the Trios tournament. I do not think that Kenny and the Bucks win that Trios tournament, but we'll take care of that when we get to predictions later. It was great to see him again. The cleaner jacket was fucking awesome. It was sort of a cleaner jacket, sort of not, but
cleaner.
I'll be honest. I'm way more interested as a whole right now with Will Ospreay as a wrestler than I am Kenny, and that's painful to say sometimes. But the thing we glossed over after the Mox, CM Punk match was that they, what was followed was a 5.5-star match, in my opinion. Dave gave it straight 5, but the Death Triangle versus United Empire match was incredible. If you haven't seen it start to finish, the fact that they gave that away on TV was absolutely nuts. Some of the sequences in that featuring Will Ospreay and Rey Fenix, just absolutely unbelievable. And Pac. Yeah, and Pac.
There were a couple that Rey Fenix did that when I was watching it live, like I was picturing the fall he had with his arm that he somehow fucking made it out without breaking anything and snapping anything. And I was just like, sometimes I like stub my toe and then I like walk around my house differently for like 4 months.
Right.
Like I'm not like going near that couch, like, like shit like that. I'm like, this dude is still doing it over and over and over again. Like insane respect for all of the people in that. And I think also, especially Rey Fenix, but like, I think we got to give also, I think he gets love, but I just don't know if it's like fully where it should be. But
do you know who I'm
talking about?
Well, Pac?
Yes.
Yeah, Pac's. Yeah. I think Pac's here's the thing with Pac. He was extremely stunted for so long during the pandemic because of his travel situation that now we're only getting to rebuild Pac into the image of what he should have been from the beginning of AEW. We're getting to see what he really is again. And we're getting to remember, oh, fuck, he's that goddamn good. And I love the Bastard Pac promos. Like, he's so good. Like,
but I think that in my mind, that's the thing that doesn't ever get him to the next level. I think it's really good. I think every time he wrestles, he's always a fucking A+ fucking wrestler every single time. But I think that for some reason, the gimmick, which he does so well, has hit the plateau. Like, that gimmick is never going to get him
it's a weird
above
Right.
into the next level
I think-
for some
I
reason.
think-
And I'm not hitting on the gimmick.
The Death Triangle was a big mistake for all of them. Now, granted, their styles
Yeah.
can work great in the ring, but here's the problem. Penta, Phoenix, not the best English speakers. Pac, funny accent, right? Like, you throwing all those people in there. Was Pac supposed to speak for Ray and Phoenix and help him with that? Like, I guess that's probably why they threw Alex Abrahantes in there as well, right? To kind of
I
take
think he
some of
was
that
the
burden.
mouthpiece. Yeah.
He was supposed to be the mouthpiece, but that's not worked out quite well. And Pac, like, as much as I like his chemistry with Penta and Phoenix, Pac needs to just be a singles dude, and that's what's going to change our mind on him. That's where he needs to be. He needs to not be involved with Death Triangle. That needs to be just over. And I think it would benefit, Ray and Penta as well. He was great in this match. I like the idea that he is the what is he? The All Atlantic champion? Is that it? All Atlantic?
Yeah.
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 And this was also a great way. Now, I don't think you enjoyed it as much as I did, but I thought Aussie Open also looked great in this match. Another team that needs to just like break into the U.S. market. Little things like this are going to help with Will Ospreay. I think but one of the things I was extremely mad at watching it on TNT, Duncan, was there were moments in this match that were so missed because of the commercial breaks. And they do the picture-in-picture thing. And you can see there's so much character work going on with Will and Aussie Open. And, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, it's great you're getting to see Will do his flippy shit, right? But what you're missing in this match is you're not getting Will over enough to the casual viewer if they're not seeing the character that he is. You're not getting a chance to see him be a bit of bruv in the ring, if that makes any sense. Like, you're not going to get that audience to connect. And that was one of my major complaints about just the way it was presented. I will also say it was a very long TV match with, I want to say 4 breaks total. Like, it was at least 3. It might have been 4.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think that obviously is going to take people out of it.
Right.
So aside from, you're not getting the character, the pacing was interesting. It was as if the producers of an American TV wrestling match didn't know how to cut correctly at the right times for the pacing of the match. Now, granted, very hard to where do you figure out where you fit the commercial break in a match like that. I'm not even knocking them, but it was super evident that it's so more, when it's a Jade Cargill match, they have no problem when someone gets dumped to the outside to go to break, right, at the right time of a match. This was so, like, if you're producing that match, if you're the, Kevin Dunn,
Dunn of
right?
AEW.
This would be very hard for you to, like, go to commercial now. Even Excalibur, is more than usual, was having to, like, scramble and fit his shit in, and, like, it was. He's like, I think he said literally at the beginning of the match, he's like, I don't know when I'm gonna get this in. So DraftKings, blah 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 blah. Like, and he did his whole spiel. But it was interesting. They could have done a lot better of a job in further establishing who United Empire are, who Will Ospreay is, and why is Will Ospreay looking better than your top talent. And also having JR basically call that out and say, we need to hire Will Ospreay. You know, like
JR.
there are flaws with what they're doing. I love the match. I loved everything about it, but it also, like, I guess, I mean, maybe it services Kenny.
Like, maybe was it on purpose?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Like, do you make it seem more chaotic and make it as maybe even a casual AEW viewer, right? It's a big deal because Kenny's there, but then you're like, he wasn't wrestling great. Like, who was this other guy? There were some really cool spots. Like, things seemed off. And so you're like, I guess I should tune in the next time this is happening. So when they actually can promote it, as opposed to it just being and again, I think that goes to what you're saying at the beginning of that, which was the Kenny Omega storyline of, is that kind of a work and him leaning into being still hurt, like that sort of thing, right? I think there was that one where he was supposed to do, it wasn't like a sunset flip, but it was like something where he does it all the time, where he rolls through over them while they're on their back, and he's on top and he does like a roll over, something like that. And like,
he knows he fucks it up, and he chuckles too.
And he like pointed at the fucking Young Bucks and like, and he was like, because he tried to catch it and he tried to catch up, and then he was like, no, that ain't happening.
That one's like a half work, half shoot for me. Like he's
which it could be, and knowing all of them, it could be. But I also think that like someone like Ospreay and someone like the Bucks and someone like Kenny, you would think like, let's do something really weird and like kind of silly, but like way kind of fucking meta, and like
that will help us tell a story later down the road too. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like it seems like it was such a weird thing for Kenny to come back, and then the match seemed like it was really good, but it was kind of off. And was it the cameras and the commercials? Like, we're going to get people guessing. And like, maybe then you have cues where it's like Excalibur has to say like, oh, I got to try and fit this in. Like, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I've been watching this show on HBO called The Rehearsal. And so
we'll talk about that sometime off air, but no, like at the end of this match too, like so much happened, and it was such an amazing match that the end of the finish and what happened with like, you know, a re-debuting superstar and a huge reveal was sort of buried because like so much had happened. We just had the Mox Punk stuff. We had this crazy fucking match with United Empire Death Triangle, and then to throw this Kip Sabian stuff at the very end of it, even though I liked how it was done. I thought the reveal was cool. I thought that, you know, to be honest, like, he looked like $1 million. Like, his suit looked amazing. I kind of liked the douchey blonde hair and the eyeliner, and like the whole presentation of it looked right. He felt like a bigger deal than he's ever felt in AEW. And
agreed, but I thought he blew it at the end.
And this, I wanted to hear this.
Blew it at the end, and I think that this where I was talking about earlier, like, is it like when we talk about wrestlers going to different promotions and all these things, we've talked about it a bunch, whether on air or off air, but it's one of those things like it is on the wrestler at a moment when you do get a promotion and a booker who is actually giving you something finally. And that was like a long, slow burn for it to get there, right? And I think everything that happened up until the moment when he was walking back out into the crowd at the very end, he like went through that little corner area, right, where you can like actually break apart the fucking railing. He went back through that, and the crowd started chanting Kip, like, and he looked around and he like did like a kind of like this to try, and it started gaining momentum, and he was holding the box like kind of like right in his arm like this, like down lower, you know, kind of like hugging it, and
like holding it like a motorcycle helmet, like you'd hold a yeah.
Perfect. Yes, exactly. And he had it like there, and then they were starting to get it. There was that momentum. You can hear it like starting to come behind. And then I thought as a fan with that, I was like, dude, put that fucking box back on and fucking point to underrated.
Yeah.
Point to it, like make a fucking statement. And the crowd would have gone wild, I think. Like, it would have made a big statement for you. And he didn't. He just went out and then walked to the left,
missed
which would have been
opportunity
safe.
type thing, because even the
That's
photo,
what I thought.
even the photo op of that, right, or the B-roll footage that you can get from that could have been.
I thought it was a missed opportunity. That's just me as a fan.
Yeah.
I did like the moment, and I did like the payoff. I just thought that I was like, fuck, dude, that was it.
I also like that it's pretty apparent that we're gonna get Pac and Kip Sabian feuding, like because he did some shit at like an indie Rev Pro show, I want to say, where Pac was at, like he was there, took the box off. He's done it already in the UK, so this is a feud that is going to be happening. And now I think that's going to be Pac's, of course, first defense of the All Atlantic Championship.
That going back to I think Pac needs something.
And quite frankly, though, it has become, now it's a very credible contender for the All Atlantic Championship, something I'm interested in, and wouldn't even mind seeing that belt hot potatoed back and forth between the two of them for a little bit, because it kind of keeps it going and interesting and makes it something worth watching. Great way
and it elevates Kip
a ton. And also, you know, I don't think it damages Pac. It also keeps him sort of like, I mean, maybe a little lukewarm, but ready to go for that next step whenever that next transition is. That
100%, which is what he needs. Yep.
Yeah.
That brings it all. Yep. Full circle.
Do you want to? I think that was most of the stuff that I wanted to address. Like for the I mean, there's one more. We have to talk about this. We have not mentioned the big return that happened. Was it like 2 Raws ago? Now I'm forgetting when this even happened. But one old Johnny Wrestling is back with the WWE.
Man. That was last Raw.
Was it last? Yeah, this past Raw. Figured we have to talk about that a little bit. It was a nice moment. Like it was a really cool moment. I thought that it was cool that, you know, he even got to call himself Johnny Wrestling, called him the baby, his new baby Wrestling. And then it was smart to introduce Theory into that mix because of the way and their old history in NXT, all that sort of stuff.
Theory, who may soon be Austin Theory.
Oh, please, just give him a real name back. It would help. Honestly, it would help. Like it. I'm still not gonna love the dude, but it makes him seem a little bit more human, you know, a little bit more real.
The one name thing is just like, you're not Batista.
Yeah. And stop with you. I think you mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I think I said it, but in a different context. You are 100% right. Jimmy Smith always says the Edge.
Yeah.
He doesn't say Edge. He says the Edge.
The Edge.
I don't
because he's not the fucking guitarist from U2.
Yeah, I was gonna say U2.
Yeah, but that's what Jimmy Smith says every time. He calls him the Edge.
I've probably noticed, but it's never clicked.
It's a thing.
At that point, Jimmy Smith is the twat.
Because now I can hear it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it might not even just be him. I think there's like a couple of people that have said it, but like it. Listen out for it. They're calling him the Edge on occasion. It's like, no, his name's
first of all, you stop that right now.
But
it is not his name.
But it was a great return for Johnny. It was cool to see him. Like, I mean, we've always known Trips has been a Johnny guy, but to see him like on the main roster, super kicking the Money in the Bank winner in the face, like on his return, like this is great, right? Like this is something that even if Johnny doesn't become Money in the Bank winner, I don't expect that he's going to. But if he just has a feud with Theory and he can look good, and then we can even maybe get a reunited, you know, fucking I was about to say DUI again, Duncan. I always do it. But,
you do DIY.
DIY.
Not to interject, but apparently on Raw they may be building towards a Kurt Angle Chad Gable match.
Oh, that's brilliant. They should do that, and I knew that Angle was going to be
Jason
back on
Jordan,
the show.
guest referee.
Why not?
There we go.
That would be great.
Do it.
That'd be great.
He doesn't have to take a bump.
So it would be a much better match.
Even better. What if they did it, how they do like the scorecard matches, like where like the judge's decision, because they're both amateur wrestling guys, do it kind of like that. Like AEW's done a couple of these, but you have Jason Jordan on that panel, gets involved, like something like that. That would be cool. That would be.
Let me ask you guys this. So with Johnny Wrestling coming back, with Karrion Kross, Scarlett, like a lot of the things that we've seen, right? A lot of things that we all wanted.
That I have.
All that we've wanted, right? Yeah. Duncan's been at half-mast for weeks. He's been edging himself for weeks on WWE content.
Yeah.
But so with all of that,
come
right?
through here? There's a spooky ghost.
There's a spooky ghost.
It's all ectoplasm.
So let's say, this whole thing, this is what we wanted with Black and Gold. And when they went to 2.0, everyone, or most people, let's say, were fairly upset, fairly disappointed. This was a rebranding, everything. Trips was gone. There was the heart attack or whatever.
I think at very least we were all confused.
But this is what everyone wanted NXT to be, right? And eventually everyone wanted people who were coming up from NXT to be treated the way that they're kind of being treated right now on the main roster, in which case they haven't been treated in the past, right?
Right. A proper NXT call-up. Ignoring and not ignoring their complete history with NXT when they come up. Like this is like,
why the fuck would you want to erase all that work that you did to build this character?
That's what we never understood. Like
exactly.
Slide him right the fuck in.
Which brings me to this question: over under. How long does it take until the internet and smarks bite the hand that feeds them?
Oh, and turn on Triple H?
And start talking shit because it's not what they want. This is bullshit. I'm fucking bored with it. This person needs to go to AEW. This person needs to go to this. This person needs to come back from AEW and be in WWE.
I feel like this is almost
when does the honeymoon over?
It's a full podcast in and of itself. That we should do at some point soon. But obviously we're in the honeymoon phase. Obviously there's going to be a turn of the tides.
And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what would you guess, Lado? And because I'm not hoping it happens either. I'm hoping everything just stays up in both competition and everything just keeps making wrestling better.
It depends. It depends, because if they keep putting out decent stuff like they have, WWE's got at least like a year of goodwill. Within 3 weeks, they bought themselves a year. That's kind of where I look at it. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's true.
Especially
since SummerSlam.
Yeah. I think they can get, what they've already done can get them to Mania already.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think at this point, you've got to think that Triple H has plans for Mania and how to get there.
Cody, Randy, we've got all these things now that are
Rock, Roman.
It's so much more than we had, and things that were once upon a time. We keep saying it. It's like that thing that was once upon a time. Like, but they'll never do it. Now you can kind of be like, oh, but they might.
They might do it.
Right.
They're probably going to do it.
Speaking of, we got a hard deadline to hit tonight, so we should probably get to some.
Oh yeah,
I was looking at the clock.
I do at least.
I was looking at the clock, man, and I was getting there. I think that because we've been talking about. All right, just real quickly though, to wrap it up.
Hey,
what do you see them doing with Johnny Gargano? In a year, is he holding a belt on the main roster? Yeah, yes or no? That's the question I'll ask. Mid-card title probably, or tag?
Maybe.
Not a world championship, US.
US. Yeah, I could see that.
I could see US or IC.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if I just read a rumor that they've apparently discussed bringing back Braun Strowman, and I'm like, please don't do that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That guy's been controlling. Dude, no, this is what he wanted. He's been controlling his own narrative. This is what he wrote down in his dream book journal, and he put it on his vision board, and he wanted to get back.
To be honest,
and you know what? He's also I've heard rumors. I don't know if you guys have read this. Nicholas was maybe going to come on Control Your Narrative, but now that he might be WWE reached out to him and is trying to get Nicholas back.
Man,
I mean, they were a pretty dominant.
That's going to be the best tag team ever.
it's already they're already
Kind of better than the
Young
Rock
Bucks.
and Sock connection. I have to say this just because I pulled up the Facebook group. I don't know this person, but he's very active in the group. I love that he's very active in the group because I do appreciate all the posts. Jordan Meeks.
Yeah, we thank everybody.
Jordan Meeks.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love his profile picture, which is just like some sort of memoji or whatever of him like with his shoulders shrugged and his arms out like this.
That's my buddy John. That's my buddy John.
This is basically how I picture like him when he's like when I read his post, he's like, nah. Like
it's accurate. It's accurate.
It almost always fits. So just wanted to throw that out just because it just popped up as I was looking to see if there was anything else before we got to predictions.
No, that's absolutely about right for our good buddy John Lewis. I know John Lewis is a local artist here in Orlando, and
it's Jordan Meeks that I was talking about, but yeah, John Lewis.
Oh, Meeks, yeah, Meeks. Sorry, I was mixing the two up, but yes, don't forget to check out our good friend John Lewis, Jon without the H. Jon Lewis draws things. Just type that into Google. You'll find all his stuff. I know he's got a Twitch. I know you can buy some pretty sweet art from him. Good guy too. Good guy. But that being said, let's talk about some good and some bad guys because we have a couple of pay-per-views to do some predictions for and talk about here. First one, I'm playing some Celtic music in the background here.
I guess so.
You know,
are we doing Clash?
Well, I figured, we were just talking about, the WWE. So
I don't think you should have anything with lyrics. We're gonna get.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
God damn it!
I'll get us kicked off again. But no,
You always do.
Nah, it's fine.
One of us is the reason we can't have nice things.
Hey, we've only got 5 matches apparently. Already
For Crash at the Crash.
Yeah, which is interesting because I know they taped the SmackDown before. I think we'll still get has there been anything announced tonight? I mean, by the end of tonight, we're recording this on Monday.
I'm sure by the end of tonight there will be. Let me check.
Let me check my news.
There might be.
I'll check.
There might be one
Wrestling Observer.
Even it'll probably just be on the Wikipedia if they have
Edge and Rey Mysterio versus Judgment Day.
Yep. All right. Edge and both the Mysterios, I'm guessing, or just Edge and Rey.
Edge and Rey.
Oh.
Versus Finn and Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Dominic in the corner of
Rey and everything.
Yeah, and then Rhea in the other corner.
I mean, that could be a good way to do the turn if you're gonna, do the Dominic turn.
Yeah.
He was pissed off at Edge the other week, all that shit. We'll just start with that match because fuck it, we're already there. We're talking about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna go Judgment Day. I think Dom turns. I think he joins Judgment Day, and I'm doing it. I'm going Judgment Day on this one. Matthews, you're next, bro. You're next.
Who is Edge with again?
Rey
Mysterio, with Dom in his corner.
Yeah.
And Rhea in the corner of Finn and Damian Priest.
I mean,
I'll go the opposite.
I mean, yeah, it's honestly that's the safe bet is Edge and Rey, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just went different.
No, because that's where I was going.
You're going Judgment Day too? Are you predicting the turn like I am as well?
I think it makes sense.
It has to happen sooner or later.
Because I think the Judgment Day has legs, and I don't want to see it. Like, don't just shit it out yet. Like, make it.
And it might actually make Dominic.
It makes sense, but you're going to see more Mysterio and Edge versus Judgment Day matches.
Perhaps, but you could also see Ray get written off for a minute, or you
That
know
would
what
be
I
the
mean?
better thing.
But
Yeah.
but eventually you do the Judgment Day versus but it's not always. So when I say Judgment Day versus Edge and Rey Mysterio, I'm not saying like all the time in like tag teams or anything. I'm saying you can do multiple different little
Oh yeah,
storylines.
totally.
Eventually those storylines get you to Rey versus Dominic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have to
you're probably
change my
right.
answer. And so I have to change my answer to Judgment Day.
Okay,
That's my
so
mulligan.
all three of us, you used your
Yeah.
mulligan on the first question this round.
I think it makes sense though.
Yeah.
I talked myself out of it.
Yeah, you certainly did. How do you feel about this next one? We'll just go with, I think, one of the weakest matches on the card. Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler, SmackDown Women's Championship. I went first last time. Matthew, you want to take this one?
Liv.
Going Liv.
I think Ronda's gonna come out and try and do something, and it's gonna end up fucking Shayna Baszler over, and then you end up having two different storylines that you can go with, and then you eventually get Ronda and Liv again.
Going Baszler. I think it's time to do it. I think an overseas crowd will be into that. Nah, fuck. The Brits probably like Liv. God damn it.
Yeah, you think about it.
Yeah, no, it's Liv. God damn it.
Yeah.
I was just hopeful that eventually we do something with Shayna Baszler, but
No,
it's
is
Liv.
love, live is life. She's
No,
like Shrek.
you do something with Shayna Baszler and this will be a Trips thing, when Ronda comes out, accidentally fucks it up for Shayna Baszler, and Liv wins. Then when Ronda gets the title, Shayna's going to challenge her for the title, and Shayna goes over Ronda Rousey.
I mean, I'd hope so.
I think that's the ticket.
I'd love that as
or
well.
Or you get a Shayna
long-term
Ronda
booking, but
or you just get a straight Shayna Ronda like grudge match,
which I
just start.
Be fine with that too.
Build up some women's matches and shit. Yeah.
Live across the board.
Yeah, live is love, live is life.
What do you think about the other women's match? Because we've got Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. 6-women tag team match. This is also weird too, because aren't they doing the finals tonight? So this I could see sort of changing. Depends what happens. Maybe at this pay-per-view, that's where we get the Sasha Naomi return, if that doesn't happen already tonight.
Duncan and I are both looking at our phones.
Yeah, we're just like
we're like, hold on, who's gonna get there first? Who's gonna break it?
I mean, thus far, nothing to break.
I mean, realistically for me, I mean, I don't think Bayley's new faction is gonna lose yet, so I'm just gonna go safe bet with the Bayley girls or whatever they're called.
The Bayley girls.
I'm gonna go the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and only because
so I'll put you with the Bianca girls. You're the Bianca girls.
Yeah, Bianca girls.
Yeah.
And I only say that because I think that the Bayley girls can like make it like they don't have to. They still have like momentum behind them, right? Whereas I think you kind of need to have like Alexa Bliss and Asuka do something, or else they have nothing.
Only
and
reason
like, so
I
they
say,
have to have some win to like put them on that level, and then you could do breakouts and continue this feud with the Bayley gang or whatever we want to call it.
So I think it's gonna go because of the Bayley gang. That's how we're gonna get Naomi and Sasha back to immediately feud with the Bayley gang.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's actually pretty good booking.
I'm going with the Bayley gang.
Bayley gang too. Yeah. That's the only reason, because otherwise I think yours is probably, it's honestly a smarter move, but
yeah.
I guess you could like save. I don't know. You just don't want to tie Alexa to fucking Bray whenever they bring him back. That we all know that's gonna happen.
That'll
right?
that'll definitely happen. I mean, it's high on the list.
I'm not saying like soon, but
it will. I wouldn't even be terribly surprised if it were to happen at this show. I wouldn't be.
I think Rumble.
Why would it? Or Survivor
Series. That's like
Series.
A really good.
Because Survivor Series never gets any, like.
Yes.
Since the Undertaker, Survivor Series hasn't got shit.
And
that's the perfect time to bring.
That
Bray
is the
back.
perfect time to bring him back, because synonymous with Survivor Series is The Undertaker, and they need that guy now. Survivor Series has been like the weakest of the big four by far.
Yeah,
They have
historically.
Damian Priest.
Stop that.
Nah. Let's talk about Gunther with Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus with the Brawling Brutes, Rich Holland and Butch. Love that I've seen some spoilers of just Pete Dunne as Pete Dunne in his Pete Dunne gear wrestling on last week's SmackDown, the one that was taped. So sorry for that spoiler, but hopefully they are going back to a more Pete Dunne presentation for Pete Dunne rather than the Butch thing. But Gunther, Sheamus, as much as it would fill out Sheamus's kind of like quest of like what is it, like it would be it's the last one he's never gotten. It's the Grand Slam for him if he gets the IC. So
is it really?
Yeah, it's the last one he's never gotten. He's never gotten the IC. It would be his Grand Slam of all of them if he were to win it. Yeah, it sounds weird.
But Miz is a double Grand Slam, so like
the one that eluded him, Sheamus never got the IC. I think he's got the US multiple times, but he's never got the IC. So yeah, it's the one he's missing, and I think that does add to the story. But I'm going Gunther here all day long. I think it's too soon.
Me too.
I think it's too soon to take the belt off
Way
of him.
too soon.
And I also think that it's sort of a passing of the torch from Sheamus to Gunther a little bit. I think there's probably a bit of mutual respect there. And as much as Sheamus being, kind of, I guess, quote unquote, a hometown boy, Wales, Ireland, kind of different. Gunther,
like it's all part of the same little island chain there. It's fine.
But you know how they think about things like over there. The fact is, though, that Walter was your UK championship for a lengthy reign. If you're a fan of European wrestling and you're at that stadium, Gunther is going to be just not as over as Sheamus, but he's going to be close.
This is how you get him over into that next level.
Yep.
Like he is primed to get. So it's like we're driving a stick shift, right? Like he's in the gear, he's like at the top of the gear, and like it's starting to red. Like you need to let off the gas, hit the clutch, and then kick the gas into that next gear. And like that's the moment he's waiting for, because not only will it go over with the people, like you're saying, over there, right? But you're gonna have so many eyes on it. And this is a way to establish. Sheamus doesn't need it necessarily, Grand Slam or not. He doesn't need it. But like Gunther, like this will actually propel him to continue to have that success and build it. And I think that's how we'll book it.
100%. I think that's where they're going. We're all in agreement across the board there.
Yeah.
Cool. Damn. This is one of these nights, huh?
Riddle apparently just dropped an F-bomb on Raw.
Oh, well,
that's going to work out
PG-13.
well.
I mean, I thought he was going to win before this, so...
Yep,
But actually, I can make an argument that Seth needs the win more than Riddle.
I don't think he does.
You don't think he does?
I think Riddle has been primed, especially since they had like him with Randy Orton. When Randy left, he's done a great job of still being able to remain relevant, but like he needs a really big win on a bit, like not just on a Raw or a Smack. Like he needs it on like a big stage, and doing it there. Like I just think he needs it now. It doesn't matter if it's there or anywhere here. This is the time to do it, to help establish him as being one of those semi-top guys. Don't like to the moon boot him, but like he needs to now be established, because Rollins is going to be fine, and he's still going to get the crowd doing the whoa, like he's going to be fine. But Riddle, what does he do if he doesn't beat Rollins?
You're not wrong, and that's sort of my line of thinking as well with it.
All right.
Like I get it.
He's been getting so many more promos and stuff lately, and like I don't know, at least in my mind when I watch it, I'm just like he's there recently since he's been back.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like eventually you're gonna have Seth hit the losing streak angle, and like it's gonna be the battle for him to find his confidence back, and that's how he's gonna.
It might as well be that already. They just haven't acknowledged it, really, right? Like, especially with his pay-per-view.
Well, because his character is so like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
like, he's just like, I'm still fucking badass. I'm the best. Like, he's doing the character well. So
his character is Eric from Billy Madison. He's the fucking guy that Bradley Whitford plays.
The other day.
Yeah, he's just like the guy with the little fucking rat face. And he's like,
I know that.
Business.
So you're both going Riddle for that?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say fuck it. I'm gonna go with Riddle, potentially, hopefully, maybe someday known as Matt Riddle again.
I think that'll happen if he wants it. It's I think that's probably on the table. I'm gonna go with Seth on this.
There you go.
And
make it interesting.
And part of it kind of plays into the main event with Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Reason I say Seth on this one is because no matter how you look at it, Seth is a great opponent for either one of those people that win. To lose to, right? Like, he's a heel, can face Drew if Drew were to win. Plenty of built-in history with him to go up against Roman if Roman were to win. And I think you went first last time here, Matthew. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I think it is time. And I don't think it will. I think it will be a short-lived victory. They're going to go Drew.
Yeah, 100%. Drew's actually going to be the one who pins him, which makes him like kind of somewhat in the writer's mind get to the Brock Lesnar level, because Brock had to bury him under these things, or Roman had to bury Brock under those things, and they couldn't pin out of all of them, and he's going to do it off of a Claymore or something like that. And yeah, but that's the thing. He has to beat him clean. He has to have his shoulders on the fucking mat.
For it to mean anything. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is now the redemption of him having won the title during the pandemic in the, what was it called? Thunderdome?
Yeah.
In the Thunderdome. I think it's that. I think this is now like, hey man, like now we are giving you your moment.
It's just arguable for some people, of course, if it's time for Roman Reigns to drop it, or do you wait till Mania? Do you do it?
Jesus, really? Are we talking? People are still talking about that?
I know. I think they are. I think they are talking about that, and I think they.
I know. I was being facetious in that question.
The thing is with that is you have to take the belt off of Roman sometime, because he doesn't need it for Mania. Because he doesn't need it for a match with The Rock.
No, he doesn't.
So let me ask you guys this. What, like, with this, does he win both? Or is it like he gets to choose between which one? Like, if you win Money in the Bank, you get to choose which title? You get to choose which title you won?
I think it's a unified title at this point, and I think you win both.
How long then, if we're looking in future booking, right? So how long do you do the unified, and how do you break it apart? And I'm not saying like choose like a storyline like with actual wrestlers, but like when you choose to, how do you break it apart?
Okay. I think this has to this has to be the beginning. If you're going to do that, this has to be the beginning of the downfall of Roman. And I think that the way that this all works is that after a certain point, maybe Roman loses 2 matches to Drew, right? This one and the following. And then there's like one last one, but he's only allowed to challenge for 1. I don't know how that works, but I think that like the way that you have to make this happen is something involving the Money in the Bank briefcase. That seems to me to be the storyline writing element to be able to kind of separate the belts, because maybe only Austin Theory can get involved. I don't know. I haven't figured that out, but I don't think they have either. I don't think when they unified them belts, they had a fucking clue what they were doing and whether or not.
No, that was senile old man with a baseball elbow running.
Exactly. Like, so what you got to think about now is they're gonna split them at some point.
They have to. I
They have to, because Fox and USA are both pissed that they don't each have a champion.
Well, Russo told them that they probably should have their own champion. So.
Listen, we will get there, and it will make me angry.
So, sorry.
No, but I was going to say, like, here's the question to ask yourself is how are they going to end the night with the crowd pissed? Yeah. Happy, yet pissed.
Is Roman over enough? And it's still a big moment enough if he were to win. Is it that he's that big of a spectacle that people won't be that angry if Drew loses? Like I think they're kind of.
You have fucking Drew win it, and then you have Theory fucking cash in.
I'd be all right with that. If that were to lead somehow to a separation of the belt,
you could also have Roman win and then Theory cash in.
I think Theory's
it kind of works both ways.
Theory's going to lose his briefcase to his daddy.
Yeah, I don't think Theory gets involved in this yet. I think Gargano is a bigger part of that picture.
Theory is going to lose.
But then
Theory
again,
is going to lose his briefcase to Johnny.
But what we're of course forgetting or not acknowledging, sorry, Roman Reigns,
the tribal chief,
is Killer Cross right now, and Killer or whatever.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm really sorry. How can we just address the elephant in the room?
Oh,
if Austin Theory was Vince McMahon's dude that he was pushing to the moon, and he won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and now he's going to lose the Money in the Bank briefcase to Triple H's dude, who was the guy next in line behind Vince McMahon, and all the like. This is a total soap opera. Like it's all well done.
I also will
really
say
hope this is all storyline.
I also will say there's
fucking play.
There's an amazing storyline that you can also tell with the new Vince McMahon guy that is Austin Theory and the old Vince McMahon guy that is Drew McIntyre. The two guys that were the chosen ones. Right. That are, I feel like that could have like a great storyline implication if you wanted to do that.
Absolutely.
It all goes back to the rehearsal. I don't know what's real anymore.
Karrion Kross is definitely, I think, is going to be the factor of some description in this match.
What do you think? The hourglass? What do you think?
Well, I love that Drew McIntyre called out like the hourglass. He's like on Twitter like yesterday. He was like, hourglass. You keep saying TikTok. Hourglasses don't go TikTok. I like that he pointed that out. Like, that is a good point, actually.
Yeah.
But if Drew is to lose it, it's because of Cross. That's kind of my thought process, and that's what makes me a little nervous about that. But like, Cross isn't walking away from Clash with a title, right? Like, but he could be a next challenger. But I think Cross is a better next challenger for when Roman takes a sabbatical after he loses the belt. And Cross is a great next challenger for Drew McIntyre, who's the new champion. Again, while I'm going Drew, I think you're going Drew, Matthew. Duncan, where are you going? Yeah, you and Oos? You oosing it up?
I gotta oos it.
He's been down since day one as H.
You have been down.
Since day one is age, for sure.
And we do have to at least acknowledge how fucking amazing Sammy in the Bloodline is right now.
That's really why.
And that could also be a factor in this match too. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
I feel like we might get a Sammy trying to help Roman, the cost Roman type scenario as well.
It could, or it could be Sammy inadvertently nearly costs Roman. Like, I think it's gonna, because all of the predictable things, right?
I think it's in order, even though we want it to go longer, in order for it to do like the story justice, he has to do what you said, Owen, at the first one of the first of the two, which is he actually has to fuck it up for Roman, and that's how Roman loses. He still loses on his back, both shoulders pinned to the fucking ground,
right?
So he can't deny it. And I think that's how you have to do it with Roman. You have to prove that like he can be fucking pinned down. but the first time is not on his own accord through Sami Zayn, who has only anything to gain from that, and he's not going to be in the main event title picture or anything like that.
Right.
So like the storyline wise, we're all still going to love Sami Zayn.
Oh yeah, Sammy
and
really
they
can
can,
do no
and
wrong.
then they're still going to have their interactions for a while as like you burn the outro of that story, and we're still going to get those really good funny connections.
I think we're going to end up with Kev and Sammy back together again as a tag team, taking the belts off the Usos.
I love it.
No, see, that would be delightful.
I love that.
That's what I think we're going to get.
I hadn't thought about that, and I like that a lot.
And because I don't know
God, does KO come and rescue Sami Zayn?
There might be I could see
from a beatdown. Like, does Sammy cost Roman? Does Sammy cost Roman the title? Bloodline is beating down Sammy. KO
comes and rescues him. I like that a lot. Actually,
I like that a lot.
It does make me second guess.
I like that a lot.
It does make me second guess, but I have to acknowledge my tribal chief.
All right.
Gotta do it. I gotta stake my championship on the tribal chief's championship, which probably is not how the math will end up working out anyway. It'll be decided by the goddamn women.
Because the fucking following day you have to defend it again. Even if you were to win this particular day, Duncan, you have to defend it the following day with AEW's All Out. So this is all bets are off. One of us could win the belt for a day. Not even 24 hours.
Not even 24.
And I didn't even appreciate this. I knew it was obviously going to be earlier in the day, Clash at the Castle, being in the UK. I thought it was going to be like, okay, that'll be on at 5-hour difference. Usually our shows are on at 8 o'clock, so that would be 3 o'clock our time. I was like, okay, 3 o'clock, No, it starts at 6. It's a 1 o'clock Eastern time tune in deal on Saturday for Clash at the Castle, just so you're aware.
Sick.
So just so you're aware.
I will be at work.
Just letting you guys know.
Not able to watch.
I do nothing on Saturdays but lay on my couch. So that's all.
Oh, dude, you got this.
It's gonna be fucking.
It's gonna be dope.
5 rosin gummies.
I have
fucking wrestling.
Yep. I know so much wrestling to watch.
That
weekend.
We've got a lot.
We're not even going to talk about NXT.
We got 9 matches, and we got 9 matches.
9 matches in 12 minutes. Good.
9 matches in 12 minutes, and that's even without having a official CM Punk Mox thing going, right? We don't even have a main event yet, so we'll just blast through what is apparently planned for the evening so far.
Well, we don't even know that. We can't even really predict the championship, the trios champions.
Well, we're gonna.
And I don't
you know what we're gonna do with the trios.
Casino battle.
What we're gonna do with the trios is amongst what we already know. We can guess between 3 teams, so we can still at least make a prediction as to who will win the tournament, and that's what the match is at least announced. We know the match is happening, so even if we don't know the winner of United Empire and the Elite, we can make assumptions and say, hey, it's either going to be them or the Dark Order. So we can at least guess between those 3 teams. And if that, things go awry, I mean, it's going to be one of those 3 teams that win the match. So we can at least guess that. And I think that's fair. And, since we just talked about it, fuck it. We'll start there. Why is that not fair? I think that's perfectly fair. I think that's perfectly fair. There are 3 teams left in the tournament. Yes, there has not been the semifinal match to decide the finals, but it's going to be one of the 3 teams.
Yes.
So,
but
when you actually have a match, I think you have a chance. And I only say this because I'm butthurt because I lost on a fucking pay-per-view because we did this before, and I was like, well, if I had fucking known it was those 2 that was going, I would have fucking guessed that.
That's the thing, is it's different.
Well, I won't be a pussy, and I'll just say it's going to be the motherfucking Dark Order winning that shit. Dark Order is going to beat and Dark Order is going to beat Kenny and the Elite because of the whole Hangman shit. It's going to be a thing, and Hangman's going to come in. It's going to be a big fucking deal. Kenny and the whole Elite, they're going to beat, United Empire on Wednesday. They're going to advance to the finals. It's going to be Kenny and the Bucks against the Dark Order, and the Dark Order is going to win. So I'm putting that down. If you guys don't want to guess it,
I'm
then
going
that's
as
okay.
a hard wild card. I'm going Aussie.
No, that's exactly where I was going because I don't think that the Bucks and Kenny are making it to the finals.
You going Aussie? Both of you going Aussie Open?
Yeah.
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 Well, it's fair. See, even if they don't make it to the finals, it's still fair. We've got the same amount of choices. It's just a.
I know.
You know
I was just talking shit.
Honestly, it was really more the fact that,
and it was only because I was butthurt because I lost a match one time on a fucking card. That's all it was. So I talk shit. Sorry.
Jade, is it time for Jade Cargill to drop her TBS championship to Athena on this show?
Yes, and she's not going to. Jade Cargill.
Yes, and yes, you are correct again.
So
both good questions.
Both good questions. We know what the answer should be.
I'm gonna go Athena.
Good.
But
really?
Yeah, I am. Because I'm just gonna go with heart over head on that one. I'm guessing you guys are both going Cargill.
Yeah, I just like.
I mean, you're right.
I want it to be Athena because I'm like, who else would it be? But at the same time, where the fuck is Serena Deeb?
Oh,
anyway,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go
not involved, hanging around on Elevation or Dark, probably.
Yeah.
So you guys talked about it on a podcast because I listen to them when I'm not on, but you guys, Owen, you said something about Bailey, right? And you said something about Bailey not maybe looking as fit as she once was.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
So
Athena has that too. She's rusty.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Like a little rusty, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
There's not like that, and it's not like Omega like we were talking about, where it's like you're maybe playing
the ferocity that she had in NXT.
In NXT, yeah, she.
And then you look at Jade Cargill,
like you're younger, and I understand.
But look at Cargill; it's a holy fuck scenario with her, right? Like,
but that's just because of her physical appearance. Has she gotten a lot better in the ring? Yes, but overall, would I say Athena is a better wrestler? 100%.
I think Athena will make her look better too.
Yes.
In the ring.
It just it sucks because once again, what do you do with Athena?
I feel like Athena would be a better fit for the 4-way match for the Interim Women's World Championship. She would be a better fit in that than she would against Cargill. I'm literally picking Athena to be different and just to give myself a shot at I'm literally picking
something.
But 100% head on that one is Jade Cargill. Like it's probably going to be her. Much like there's quite a few matches. This is again AEW doing it where they're making things a little too predictable, and I hope they prove me wrong. I mean, because Jungle Boy and Christian Cage, Jungle Boy is winning the match. There's no chance in hell that
we're all Jungle Boy on that.
It's Jungle Boy. Like that's an easy one to just be like, nah, that's easy. Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. It'll be a good match. Swerve in Our Glory, not dropping the belts. Just gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. It's gonna be a banger, but we know who's gonna win that
Wardlow
match.
and FTR. Yep.
Okay, that one's a little the tiniest bit of doubt, just because of the Motor City Machine Guns, that they might be able to do something where, I'm actually gonna go for that. I'm actually going to go for Motor Machine Guns and Jay Lethal just because I think it can set up something that's an actual... The real match we want to see is just FTR and Motor City Machine Guns. So I think this is like the precursor to that, and we'll do that, and that's why I'm going to go with it. And I think it's a weird little way that they're going to protect FTR and Wardlow in a loss with something like this. I could be wrong, but I'm taking the risk, and I'm going just Motor City Machine Guns on this one. Motor City Machine Guns. You guys are going FTR, right? Like both of you. Yeah. And it's again better choice.
So then Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs.
This one, I think Starks, like, and that's where I want it to go. Parts of me are like, Hobbs has been getting this new push, right? And he kind of needs something, but like I feel like Starks could somewhat eat it, but like, do you take that chance, right? When you're booking this storyline. And I think that in order, because he was so close with Hobbs, I think in order for him to keep that going, Hobbs can come back as a powerhouse, pun intended, I guess. But I'm gonna go Starks.
I think.
Sorry, I had to like say it out loud to get myself there.
I think my reasoning for that is like both of them have such incredible potential. I've fallen in love, and so has the crowd with Starks with his last couple weeks of promos over the last few weeks.
I agree.
And I think Starks is the guy now. Hobbs is the guy later. So yeah, we're Starksing across the board, right?
Yeah.
Hardest match of the night, in my opinion, to pick is the women's championship match. Because I think it's between, well, it's definitely, for me, I'm going to do process of elimination.
Tony Storm.
Well, I'm,
you get a process of eliminate all you want. It's Tony Storm.
What, are you going to go Hater?
I don't think it's out.
Hater has to pin Britt.
I don't think it's, and that's why. It's definitely not Sheeta. That's my process of elimination. Sheeta's not taking that in my opinion.
It's between, in my mind, it's between Britt and
Tony.
And Tony.
Yeah.
But I think they've been pushing Tony. Now is the time. We've had the Britt thing multiple times. Not that she hasn't been great. That is not.
She can come back and get it.
That's the thing, is she can come back and get it anytime. You need someone. You need to start bringing more people to Britt Baker's level.
Mulligan. Athena is changing to Jade Cargill. I'm not standing behind that because I do think that it is Tony Storm that wins this match.
All right.
Fair.
Still hater entrance music.
Casino ladder match. We have 0 participants. Horrible. Anybody just want to just throw out a random guess for the casino ladder match? Just because I got no fucking clue.
Danhausen.
This is going to be a weird one. This is going to be someone who's not on the card but deserves a spot.
MJF.
Like
Arn Anderson.
Samoa Joe.
Ethan Page.
Kip Sabian.
I'm gonna go with Ethan Page. That's
Kip
actually
Sabian.
a really Kip Sabian's that's really good. Yeah. And even Samoa Joe wasn't a terrible choice either on that.
Yeah, he's been off TV. I think he's filming something.
But ladder match, I don't know if Joe wants to be rocking and rolling around.
Kip Sabian. Ooh. Yeah, Joe's not doing a good ladder match, especially not at this age.
No, come on, leave him out of that. He don't want no part of that.
Nah.
No, he doesn't want that smoke. Ray Phoenix. I'll just throw a
call.
He's probably not in a match, so hey, yeah, no, that's probably a pretty good call. Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho as the last match that we have to predict that we know for sure is happening.
The toils over Daniel Garcia's heart. Are you a pro wrestler or are you a sports entertainer? I've gone back and forth on this so many times.
I'm going Danielson.
I was going Danielson just a little before this.
Champions prerogative right now. So.
You can. I won't drag this out. So I will just say this. When I started coming into this, so a few minutes before I logged on to Zoom, I did like look at the cards and was like, all right, I just need to like refresh my memory, get in there. My initial to this was like, Jericho's going to do this. And then you're going to end up eventually because you'll end up doing like Garcia, Jericho, this, that, and the other, because he doesn't want to be that. But I think at the end of the day, it's better for Daniel Garcia. He's going to be involved in it somehow, and it has to be more technical as that wrestler, because you can always add on that sports entertainment part. But if you're an actual fucking wrestler, technical wrestler, I think it's easier to add on that sports entertainment part than being a sports entertainer than trying to be a very technical wrestler. That takes more time. I'm going to go Brian
Danielson.
All right, so we're Brian
It was a
across
long way
the
to get there,
board
but I
in
was
that.
I had to say, well, I was very.
You were
torn,
working it
so
out.
I just
He's
kept.
gotta get it in his
Sorry,
head.
I kept talking out loud. And, yeah.
I get it.
Well, we're all over the place for all these predictions, and it'll be a fun weekend. I mean, All Out will decide what we do.
Where did you go, Duncan?
He went Brian. We went Brian across the board on
Oh
that.
yeah,
All right.
I went B dry.
I think it's time that Jericho just drop one like that. And if it's gonna be to anybody, Brian's a pretty good guy to.
All right, hey, you know what?
You know,
You're going
You
with
want
the
me to be
wizard?
different? I'll go Jericho.
he's
to
going
be
Jericho.
different.
All right, he read the list, and
He didn't
Yep.
want to be on the list.
there we go.
Exactly.
Well, that fulfills our predictions duties. I know we are right up against
Right
time.
on time.
So I'll just give you this. This is my new little thing. We'll leave with this for the evening. I stumbled upon a thread where it was a bunch of matches that have happened that sound fake when you hear what they are. And I'm gonna come at you with a couple of ones each week, and just would you believe that these happen? One at the top of the list on this, Matthew. I told this one to Duncan. Scott Steiner versus Nick Gage. A match that happened.
When did this happen?
A match that happened. Yep. It's apparently, you can find this one. I was saw this in a gym in New York. Crowd was all over Steiner, and it was hilarious. So yeah.
Person in a fever dream, or
Dude, so many of these, he was rattling some of these off to me, and I'm just like, what are you doing to me?
you're like, what did that person smoke?
I was like,
and
I am
then, like, turn on
entirely
YouTube, and they're like, oh, I
And-
totally watched Scott Steiner and Nick Gage. Like, they fucking had an insane match. And you're like,
I was
Did
worried
they?
about, I was worried that I was too high and that I was reading all
yeah,
this shit.
no,
wrong.
it's just a weird multiverse that
So,
I've not
what I-
tuned into.
One of the most famous ones of this sort of genre of what we're talking about is Bryan Danielson versus Kamala, a match that happened. Just unbelievable when you think about it.
Right.
Like, that's a match that happened. I'll give you two more. Do you guys know who the Ultimate Warrior's last actual match was with?
Man, I wanted to be Papa Shango, but it wasn't.
No, I wish it was.
Zach Gowen.
Steamboat.
Orlando
I don't
fucking Jordan.
Orlando Jordan, no shit.
I said two more to the last one, but I'll give you actually two more now. Enzo versus Jerry Lawler casket match. A match that happened.
Yeah, you told me that one, and I was like, go fuck yourself.
What?
Yes. Enzo Amore versus Jerry Lawler
What?
in a casket match. And
Get fucked.
and because and I kept this one, Doug, and I kept this one for the podcast.
Did the Machine Elves book that? Or
I've seen this match in a fever dream somewhere, but
Yeah.
I've seen that one in the fifth dimension.
And this is one, Duncan, that I purposely avoided telling you just through our conversation. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to read some of these. I got to leave this one as an actual thing that happened because we've been talking about him so much, because he's in the news so much, and we'll be on Dynamite next week. Did you know that Will Ospreay has had a match with one Vader?
what? Really?
Yes.
How
So
old
I
was Will
think-
Ospreay?
Like 18.
Yeah, he probably would have been. He had to have been
Yeah.
super young.
Yeah.
I think I knew about this. Like, I think I've heard legend about this.
And guess who had
Um,
to go over?
Oh, of course.
Vader.
Vader?
course.
Oh, Vader,
Yeah,
wins.
Vader
Vader
time.
wins. Vader,
Yeah,
yeah,
Vader's
Vader's
fucking
in
Vader
Not gonna
time.
lose to, yeah.
this punk ass.
Right. Fuck off.
It's what? It's not.
time.
It's not.
It's time.
Vader time.
It's Vader scissor
Oh God,
That's
he
the super
29 professional
Yeah.
wrestlers. He was so good when he was good. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna be exploring some of these as weeks go on, and
those are all great. I will say the fucking the Enzo Jerry Lawler casket match.
Oh, we have to find
it.
We have to find that. I mean, because I'm sure that is like pro wrestling, just like, I mean,
that is
gold.
Now
I think that might be
Cornette's favorite match, probably.
It might be the only 10-star match
probably
in history.
Yeah.
Of ever.
Yeah. Hey, can I say this because it's been on my mind and since I said her name? No, it's real quick. You can play the music.
All right.
But I was just going to say that it's been on my mind since I said her name, bringing this up. But like Bailey, I fucking hate your pants. I fucking hate them.
Oh, her new cyberpunk pants.
Stop wearing those things.
Yeah,
I can't take you serious. I cannot take you seriously in those things. There's nothing in those pockets. You're not carrying anything around.
You leave my Bailey alone. I like her.
I fucking hate those pants.
All right. Well,
do your thing otherwise, but get rid of the pants.
I like the Bailey booty. I miss the Bailey booty in the tights.
You're getting robbed of the Bailey booty.
Yeah, you are.
Because of the fucking pockets.
Yeah.
So tell her to get a satchel or something.
Exactly. That being said, you listen up, Bailey, and you listen up, fans of your wrestling podcast. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. We will hopefully be back this time next week, same bad channel, whatever the hell we're doing. We will let you know in our group, facebook.com/groups/Ohno Wrestling. 407-906-6466 if you ever want to leave us a voicemail. Oh shit, there was one. It was from Deuce. I think he's got a present for you, Duncan. It's some Malachi Black shit or something. So we'll play that next week. My apologies, Deuce, for not playing it. I forgot.
It's a bootleg, brother.
It's probably a bootleg, but you'll still like it.
I'll love it.
That being said, we will catch up with you after the festivities of a very, very busy wrestling weekend. You'll get all our thoughts on Clash at the Castle, All Out, and maybe even a little bit from NXT Worlds Collide. Let's go, Tyler Bate. Anyway, what do we say when we're out of here, boys?